May public hearing sa Senado ngayong tanghali tungkol sa pag-amyenda sa cybercrime law. Pakinggan po natin.
Particular sections in the cybercrime law. Shouldn't we also repeal articles 353, 354, 355, 356, 357, 360, 361, and 362 of the revised penal code?
Yes, Your Honor, I wholeheartedly agree with the proposition, Your Honor. In fact, we included it specifically in our second amended petition, Your Honor, that these specific provisions of the RPC should really be repealed. And, Your Honor, my co-counsel and co-petitioner, Attorney Bagares, will specifically discuss why portions of the RPC on libel should be repealed, Your Honor. And it's even, in fact, it's in accordance with our treaty obligation under the ICCPR and under the Human Rights Committee view on Adonis versus the Philippines. Since in Adonis versus the Philippines, it's specifically the RPC provisions that were stated to be incompatible with our Article 19 obligation.
Thank you, Attorney Andres. Senator Chisa Escudero is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just two questions from Attorney Andres. Yung Adonis case, anong korte ang nagawad ng desisyong ito?
Your Honor, it's the RTC of, if I'm not mistaken, Davao City, Your Honor. And he actually served a 2-year prison sentence.
Umakyat po ba sa Korte Suprema yan?
It did not go to the Supreme Court, Your Honor, unfortunately, because of some procedural problems with the handling lawyer.
So nanalo siya na hindi siya pwede ikulong base sa commitments ng Pilipinas sa Human Rights Treaty na pinasukan natin?
Yes, Your Honor, in the Human Rights Committee view.
So hindi kinwestiyon ng piskal?
Actually, Your Honor, in the Human Rights Committee view, the main legal reasoning of the Human Rights Committee, why
This is the Human Rights Committee of what?
This is the United Nations Human Rights Committee, Your Honor. It's the treaty monitoring body that monitors compliance with the ICCPR and specifically deals with communications for any violation of the ICCPR.
This is not UNCHR?
CHR, no, Your Honor. The Commission on Human Rights, no, Your Honor.
No, this is specifically what again?
The United Nations Human Rights Committee. It's a body, Your Honor, that's formed under the ICCPR. It's composed of leading experts on the human rights field.
So it's a committee under the UNCHR?
No, Your Honor. It's really a separate treaty monitoring body, although it's attached to the United Nations.
Walang kinalaman ng UNCHR doon?
No, maybe administrative, Your Honor.
So, who created it? When you say treaty obligation ng Pilipinas yan, citing, as you said earlier, pacta sunt servanda, even that the country should comply in good faith with its treaty obligations, anong treaty ang nag-create nun o sino nag-create sa kanya?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, the treaty I'm referring to is the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, of which we are a state party. And under the ICCPR, Your Honor, there's this treaty monitoring body. That's the Human Rights Committee. Moreover, Your Honor, we're also a party to the optional Protocol 1 of the ICCPR, meaning to say any Filipino and even a foreigner on Philippine territory can file a communication before the Human Rights Committee for any violations under the ICCPR. This is actually our reason, Your Honor, that in Southeast Asia, only the Philippines has a view in the Human Rights Committee because we're the only state party in Southeast Asia to the optional protocol of the ICCPR.
Next point, Mr. Chair, Attorney Andres. Sabi mo, pinuri ang Pilipinas for not interfering with the internet. But earlier you said that you only wanted sections 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the cybercrime law repealed. So in general, you're in agreement with legislation covering the internet like the MCPIF to be exact, the Magna Carta for Philippine Internet Freedom.
Yes, Your Honor, we are in agreement with that. And we also recognize, Your Honor, that there are actually legitimate crimes that should be prevented, should be punished, and should protect the internet, Your Honor.
So government should regulate it?
That's actually a very hard question, Your Honor, because
Once we legislate, even if you call it Magna Carta, even if you call it internet freedom, But once we legislate, we are in effect regulating.
Yes, Your Honor, it should be regulated, but it should be regulated consistent with constitutional and treaty rights.
Well, definitely, but there's already that big opening there. Unlike a situation wherein there's no law on cybercrime, there's no law on the internet. Absolutely, there is complete, you can call it freedom or chaos, depending on who you're talking to. So you are of the view that, and your organization is of the view, like very much like the resource person earlier, that it should be regulated by government.
It should be regulated by government, Your Honor.
Mr. Alburo, same view? Should we legislate on it? I mean, to prevent what we want to prevent, like pornography, child pornography, etc., etc.
Our petition was originally not for the legislation.
So your position is absolutely no government regulation through legislation. That's your position?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Attorney Andres.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Senator Escudero. At this juncture, I'd like to recognize Mr. Benny Antiporda of the National Press Club.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Senator Ralph Recto, Senator Chis Escudero,
Good morning.
Senator J.B. Ejercito, Senator Bam Aquino. Well, our position here is libel law is an antithesis of freedom of speech, of expression, or of the press. Libel law does not only diminish the essence of the said guaranteed freedom, but totally destroys them. Press freedom or freedom of speech cannot be considered as freedom if there are laws that restrict or inhibit its exercises. A lot of journalists had been harassed, threatened, and killed already. Every day, journalists wake up with a threat against their life of their family member, bodily harm, and suits in court. Notwithstanding these daily threats, there was no time that they waver with their obligation to report the truth. Even libel law cannot stop them from performing their duties to the public. So with this, we fully commend the Senate bills submitted by Senator Chis Escudero and Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. The Senate Bill numbers 126, repealing Section 4C4, and 249, repealing Section 4C4, 5, 6, and 7 of Republic Act 10175. We likewise take this opportunity to express our discontent of the fact that the Supreme Court of the Philippines, an institution ironically said to be the bastion of liberty, has chosen to uphold cyber libel despite the overwhelming public clamor that it be struck down as unconstitutional. We also laud the Honorable Senators Miriam Defensor Santiago and Paulo Bam Benigno Aquino IV for their collective effort to come up with a comprehensive and detailed measure to address all existing concerns of cyberspace users, which is the Senate Bill number 83, Magna Carta for Philippine Internet Freedom, and Senate Bill number 1091. While an overall examination of the provisions of these two identical bills reveal that cyber libel and internet hate speech are merely punished by civil liability for damages, there are still issues which must be definitely clarified by the proposed bills. For one, internet libel and internet hate speech, as worded, are still classified as cybercrime or other prohibited crimes. For another, while imprisonment is substituted with civil liability.
Yan po ang nagaganap na pagdinig sa Senado patungkol sa pag-amyenda o panukalang pag-amyenda sa cybercrime law. Isa sa mga pinag-uusapan ang pagtatanggal nga sa probisyon ng online libel bilang bahagi ng cybercrime law. Bukod sa posibleng umanong pagsikil sa karapatan sa malayang pamamahayag, may ilang international umanong kasunduan na pinirmahan ng Pilipinas na naniniguro sa kalayaan ng pamamahayag sa pamamagitan ng internet. Bagay na kailangan umanong itaguyod sa pamamagitan nga ng pag-repeal nitong kontrobersyal na bahagi ng cybercrime law. Bukod sa mga senador na naroon ngayon sa pagdinig, ay naroon din ang ilang mga mamamahayag, kabilang niya yung NUJP o National Union of Journalists of the Philippines at ang National Press Club o NPC. Ayon sa NPC, mahalaga ang panukalang pag-repeal sa online libel para hindi ito magamit laban sa malayang pamahayag sa pamamagitan ng internet.